That. Hey, oh, great. Thanks for remembering to record. Hi,
Yeah.
Teresa. Hi, Liz. There we go. Okay, we're on the hour. So, welcome everyone. Um, I see some new faces, new to me faces. I know that doesn't mean you're new, but welcome thanks for joining us tonight, or this morning, depending, I guess, where you are. My name's Heather Alicia Knox, and I'm Canadian based in Mexico. My husband and I are both Gab instructors. We've been teaching for the last year. We just finished our eighth class. We live in a retirement community here in Mexico, so we have a prime audience for this type of class. And I help host these Gab Chats monthly. So they're always the third Wednesday of the month, and we switch the time of day so that we can reach our international audience as well. And Sarah is here. Sarah is our acting. Is that what you're calling yourself?
Um,
Executive director?
interim, interim
Interim
executive
executive
director.
director. And
Yeah.
Cheryl is our outgoing executive director slash. Cheryl's been involved for so many years. Um,
Founding director.
Founding director. There we go. Thank
Founding
you.
director.
There's the proper terminology. And her connection is very iffy right now, so she'll join if she can. Um, and I'm excited that we have two speakers with us tonight who both turn out to be new instructors in training, but with a wealth of other experience. So Sarah, do you want to start
Yeah.
and share what you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, just a moment to consider this a publicity piece from the anthology team. The submission window is open for the call for moments that shape us. Write about a brief moment that changed you, a turning point, a realization, or an incident that revealed something essential about who you are, a small scene with a big echo. It's open until April 30th. All the guidelines are on the Beer Center website at Anthol. If you go to the menus, it's under resources. Um, and if you are an instructor and you have classes running currently, please encourage your students to write on this theme. Basically, the branching point prompts that we use in the first week of guided autobiography are appropriate for this. But the anthology team is also working on some new prompts and expect to receive emails if you're subscribed to the Gazette. You're on the mailing list that will receive some prompts every 10 days to 2 weeks between now and when the submission window closes to help you find the story that you have to tell about a moment that shapes you. So we
And
just want
so,
to be sure everybody knows about the opportunity.
and Sarah, would you encourage us to share those prompts with our students?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yeah. I've been thinking about, I have a list of everybody who's ever taken my class.
Yeah,
When the submission period first opened, of course, I sent an email to all of them about here's the theme and we encourage
yeah,
you. But I'm thinking that I'll start sending them the prompts and really encourage them to write on this because it's such an opportunity for our
yeah.
students. They get so excited when they find out that they're going to see their words in print in a published book.
Can you
Yeah.
remind me of the word
Look at
length
videos
that
now.
that is for?
Oh, yes. 1,000 words is the top. We say 800 to 1,000. I mean, if
Thank you.
something's 750, we won't reject it, but over 1,000, we can't accept.
Great. And I'd just like to say a plug for when we did the book launch for
Oh,
the
yeah.
2025 anthology in December. It was such an inspiring evening. It was beyond my expectations to be able to hear the contributors read a little snippet of their story and just
Hmm.
kind of enticed you to want to read more. And now we're excitedly promoting the anthology. And I can't even imagine how much I'd be bursting at the seams if one of my students was accepted. So do encourage
Yeah.
your students to submit.
You're
So
right. That December book launch party really was a fantastic experience. It was,
yeah, and I'm hoping that can be an annual thing on our Gab
yeah,
Chat, that December becomes kind of the party, the book launch party,
I
right?
love that.
Thanks, Sarah. Janet, can I ask you to give a little plug for tomorrow's webinar?
Yes, you can. I'll be very, very brief. Would love to welcome as many people as can attend to the webinar. It's a food, it's memory, it's food memory, and it's at that would be 1 p.m. ET time, 1 p.m. New York time, and we meet for I would say a strict 2 hours, 15 minutes, and an extra 15 minutes of practitioner reflection if you have that extra 15 minutes at the end. But really, it's to talk about tasting the past. And people have heard me going on and on about it. So I won't go on and on about it today. I will just say it's accessing guided autobiographical writing through the memory of food. We've had about 5 or 6 Gab instructors who have done it. I think we had a really good time. I'd love to offer another
I
one
see
in
Angie waving, waving
right.
her
I'd love
head,
to
yeah,
offer another one in
and Linda
April.
waving, yeah.
Right. And so tomorrow's session, it's just 2 hours and 15 minutes, up to 2 hours and half an hour, the longest, 2 hours, 30 minutes long, and it's free.
Great. Can you put the link
But
in the and put the
I can
link in
put
the
a link
chat?
in, but we invite you to make a donation, a small donation to the Burn Center.
Okay, that's fair
Okay?
enough.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
and
yeah,
I would really encourage people to join Janet tomorrow because
yeah,
if you haven't used food as a prompt, you'll be blown away by what can come forward when people write about food memories. And Janet's such a wealth of information in our community and it's such a huge and enthusiastic heart. So yeah, we'll look for the link in the chat.
okay. And
I
anyone who
just
came,
posted it to the chat. I just did.
Great.
thank,
Thank you, Sarah.
thank you,
Thank you.
Sarah. And anyone who came to the last session can drop something in the chat so people can have a sense of
Oh
how they
yeah,
felt.
that's a great idea.
So we don't have to spend time talking, just drop something in the chat. Great.
Before we start, Sarah, did you want to say anything else? I didn't give you a chance to.
No, it's been a full day. I just finished teaching with Heidi Thorson the first session of Shaking the Family Tree,
Right.
our new certificate course, and it's so fun. But I've just spent 2.5 hours in my seat teaching, and I'm just going to lurk here for a while and then leak away, I think. But thank you all so much for being here. These Gab chats, I think, are one of the best ways we have to touch our community, to feel the vibrancy of it and start to get to know each other and where we're coming from and who we might want to work together with on a volunteer team or anything like that. So thank you all so much for coming and thank you for doing this, Heather and Greg.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. And so I will pass the baton or the stick, whatever we want to call it, onto our guest speakers today. And I'll let you introduce yourself because I couldn't do it, right? But thank you for being here. We're really excited to hear what you have to share today, tonight.
Yeah, no,
Can,
great. Thanks,
Heather, can you
Emily.
see the screen okay
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I can
good.
see it. So can I just ask everyone else to mute for now so that there's no back chatter? And then you will give us time for Q&A, I'm assuming.
Correct.
And then hopefully we'll have a little time for some general visiting after your presentation.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly.
Thank you, everyone. That's good.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, everyone. We feel so welcome in this community. It's very fun to be a part of this. We'll introduce ourselves in a little bit, but I just want to start off with saying thanks for being here. And this Gap Chat is all about fact finding and getting your input. So what we'll do is we'll give a quick introduction to Lifezine and then explain why visual storytelling is a natural next step for any Gap course. Then how written stories can become shareable keepsakes, both in print, and in a digital format. And then we'll show you some samples of our life story magazines and then end with the open discussion because we really want to see if this resonates with you, if you think this is a good idea for your students. And so we're here to listen. So let's explore options together.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, this is Sheila and me, and we are both currently enrolled in Lily's and Lee's class. We just had today our second chapter about family writing and stuff. And it's really a very great program to be part of. So let's introduce ourselves. My name is Honi, Tony with an H, I always say. And I am Dutch, in case you detected an accent. But I've lived in the United States for 36 years. And I live currently in the Tampa Bay area. And my background is actually in program management and also in brand storytelling within the international nonprofit world. And I've always had a keen eye for graphic design as well. And so that is serving us now. But over the years, I've written and designed several themed magazines myself. Just had fun taking the stories from a Word document and putting it into layouts in Canva and make it all look pretty. And last year, I had a great conversation with Sarah White, and she suggested that Sheila and I would do the Gap training, which of course was an excellent idea, especially for what we're doing. And so here we are, finally, right, Sheila?
That's right. So I'm the other half. I'm Sheila Merkel. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm a certified photo manager, and I've just been a lifelong memory keeper, and I really enjoy writing. Honey and I met through the Personal Historians Facebook group years ago, and we quickly realized that we shared the same mission, the same passion, which is to help people turn their photos and memories into something meaningful and also keepsake worthy. So Life Azine grew out of that passion. And our skills seem to complement each other, and we realize we're much better together in this season of our lives.
Yep.
And last year, I want to give a plug out to Angie Turner. So last year at a photo managers conference, we sat next to Angela during a dinner, and she was talking about what she was doing with Gab, and Honey had connected with Sarah, so it was like, it was kind of like meant to be. But anyway, Angie offered to photo managers a session, which I immediately enrolled in, as a participant. So this was almost like a year ago now. So that was great, and thank you, Angela, for getting me exposed to Gab. Um, and so I just love the photos and stories, and we wanted to create an end product for the Gab themed writings. So we'll share more later on at this, but also I just want to share a little bit more about Lifezine in general. So, what is Lifezine? Well, we turn life stories into magazines and photo books. We're a boutique storytelling and design team that help turn their stories into something that people can hold and share. As you can see on the slides that we offer a variety of themes. Our very first design years ago was a celebration of life. We did that for actually my sister-in-law. She died unexpectedly at a young age, and we wanted to create something special for her. And it really resonated with everyone that was at the celebration of life, and it was shared digitally to probably hundreds of people. And we got such great feedback that they were so touched by her life because the magazine did a good job of capturing the essence of her and her life, and they felt that they got to know her at a personal level much more than, kind of what the obituary explains to people about their life. So we thought we were onto something there. So all of our designs, we just continue to evolve and improve. And all of our designs include content guides and with writing prompts to kind of walk you through the gathering of your stories and also your photos. And we offer Canva templates for do-it-yourselfers for somebody that knows Canva or would like to use Canva and do it themselves. And then we also offer full done-for-you services that may include a questionnaire to fill out, or we can actually interview to capture the stories. So anyway, that's what we do. We combine storytelling with beautiful design, and hence our tagline, your story beautifully told.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we believe that stories deserve to be seen, so not just saved in a Word file, um, hidden away on your computer or in a binder, and they deserve to be shared, revisited, read, and even celebrated. And so, why a magazine? Well, we were attracted to that idea that everyone should be on the cover of a magazine. We feel like their stories are worthy of that, and it's not something that's just reserved for the rich and famous. So we were inspired by the early magazine covers. And we thought the magazine concept seemed more doable, especially when you have a template and we have a simple framework to follow. That seems to resonate with people. So here you see a sample of a Gab theme that I had wrote as part of Angela's class, and um, we kind of created, or Honey created the design, and I was able to add some pictures. Here was a story about our farm. Growing up, we had a large garden, and then that was my mom's stove, and she always had this kettle, which we called the magic kettle, because she was able to kind of take all the fresh garden produce and fresh beef and make these delicious meals. Um, so growing food, for this thing was a big part of my life, so it really resonated. And then on the other side, you see um, went on to operate a goat farm on my husband's side, where we also continue to garden and sell at farmers markets and that kind of thing. So we're able to lay out the design in a beautiful way, with the photos, because they add to the story. And what we do is we teach people to capture the stories first, and then we add a few supporting photos to, bring the story to life. So let's move on here.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a row of examples of what we offer. The top one are mine, and these are some themed magazines that I said before that I created for myself. So hopefully this is inspiring to you all. The first one is age 0 to 12. And then I wrote a magazine about my own spiritual journey, and also one about my education and all the different jobs that I've held throughout my life. And then the last one is the travel magazine, and that's just an ongoing something, because that there is no end to that, because you always think about something, and I've traveled a lot in my life. And so that are my personal ones, just for fun. But the bottom line is the magazines that we offer. And the Life Story collection is one that we would like to feature here, because that is really geared towards people like yourselves who are writers and probably have small, short stories that maybe float, as Sheila is saying, in Word files and somewhere in binders, that really could come together nicely um, in a magazine format like this. So that's the first one, the Life Story collection. Then the Stories of Stuff, that is more about heirlooms. And Sheila has more experience than I with working with people on that. Do you want to elaborate a little bit?
Sure. Sure. So we also do custom designs, and so this design was created for a senior move manager who specializes in downsizing seniors. And we worked together for a long time, and she says people get stuck. They can't pass on their heirlooms or get rid of them, when they need to downsize. And so a solution for her was, let's capture the stories. keep the memories, not the stuff. There's even books written on this. So we created a design that where we could take a photo of their keepsake or memorabilia, capture that, and then include a short caption or even a story about the item and what it meant to them. And it was all housed in a nice book that could be printed and shared, with their family. So
Right.
that's a fun project.
Yeah, that's a very fun one. And then even more fun is the Twin magazine. We were approached by a writing coach who is a twin herself, and she and her sister want to help adult twins write their story, both individually and as a twin. And so we came up with the layout and also the content outline and built a 6-week workshop around it. And we're going to repeat that again this fall as we are attending and giving a workshop during the Twin Conference in Twinsburg, Ohio. So that should be really fun. And that's what we do. We are often approached by people that want to do something specifically for them. And so this is another example of that. And then the last one is the Decades of Me. And Sheila will share something about that.
Yeah, this is a fun magazine, and I'll actually we'll see if we can flip through it here. But this one's it's designed chronologically by decade, and it gives people a place to start. They can pick a decade to write about, um, and it's much easier when you break your life story down in decades. So we usually start with like an introduction, include a brief overview of, the family tree of the person that we're capturing their story. And then we just go into their early childhood, and we help them select photos for each stage of life. From there, then we go in the teenage years, a lot of first, your first car. So there's, lots of fun things to write about. And then, on through the years, the 30s, the 40s, midlife reflections. And so we have prompts that we assist people so they can, kind of capture their thoughts, for each decade. And then we usually end with, the later years and legacy, and then, some final thoughts. Maybe they're creating this for their kids, grandchildren, wisdom that they'd like to pass on. We try to include a place for that. So that's our decades of me.
Right.
Oh, and we do have at first we started charging, or we had a price for the decades of me. It's a life story guide. It's what it includes is the prompts for each decade, writing prompts, and it also includes, suggestions of photos that they can select for each decade of life. Um, so maybe when we get to the end, I can share that into the chat. It's a free resource, and you're happy to have that and utilize it as you wish. But we'll have that available at the end for you. Okay. So where are we at next, Tony? Okay.
Let's see. Well, yeah. Um, by now, you guys are getting it. The concept, right? As far as stories written during a Gap course, we would follow in a Gap magazine, which we'll show in a little bit as far as the layout, but we would follow the same themes, as you already saw in Sheila's magazine. And this all brings everything together after a Gap course and just hands you at the end a clean and simple layout and a printed or digital shareable, beautiful product. At least that's what we think. So maybe some of you are asking, why Canva? Because most people are familiar with it, but some may not be. So we would say it's so easy to use and it's versatile. It creates beautiful layouts very easily. And especially if you have this template that you can already use, it is a really good program to get yourself familiar with. And so that's why we are using Canva, and we know that there are different platforms like BookWrite and all kind of variations available. But this was our choice because it's so mainstream and getting more and more used by business owners and storytellers. So that is the reason, in case one of you wonders. And again, if this is too daunting, then we can always help you finalize it yourselves.
Exactly.
So yeah, so this is the example. It's very similar to the Decades book, but it gives you an idea to wrap your head around, using this for your gap classes as a facilitator. So again, we have the branching point picture here, which people really like, but you can exchange it for something else or just keep it as is. Yeah, it's a little jumpy. It wants to.
Yeah, I think I have it set on
Oh
auto
yeah,
flip.
yeah. Just
So
let it flip. It's just to give a
yeah,
visual.
yeah, just to get the the photos. And we kind
Yeah,
of for clients, we like to number the photos in some of our templates so they, well, I need 4 photos for this section, and then so on and so forth.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's just fun. You see the whole gap course passing you by here. It's like the
Mhm.
health and the well-being and the work life.
And you can add quotes, things that there's extra space, that we allow for, some other things to be added.
Yeah, exactly. And probably it allows for up to 900 words. Maybe we can squeeze in a little bit more here and there, but that's roughly the idea.
Mhm.
And then the life in snapshots, we threw in a spread just for some extra photos to do the storytelling for you, just for fun. But we can always add stuff, we can subtract stuff. If this were to become a Gap magazine, then we would talk with the leadership about that, but we're far from there. Like I said, we just want to see what you all think about this.
Yeah, and we can add, I don't think we have all the themes, but we have,
Right. We have
yeah, we
most
can
of them, yeah.
continue to add. Let me go back. Okay. Yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about the opportunities for self-publishing. And I know students, participants, I love seeing things in print, as an end goal. And we use a platform called Blurb. I'm sure many of you heard of them, but we could publish both in the soft cover, the magazine, they call it the zine format, or a hardcover trade book format. And you can actually kind of create like an author page for your publication. You can set a price. You could share the link, and it could be in addition to like an Amazon, public. A lot of people self-publish on Amazon, but families, I think they like this. It's, if they're not trying to sell this to the world, Blurb has its own bookstore, but you can simply, share the link with your family and friends, and they can kind of purchase your magazine or trade book at a very reasonable um, cost. And we know that not everyone has the resources to publish their own memoir. So we offer this as a budget-friendly solution, so they can print it in hard or the soft cover. And it's an easy way, once you see that you can publish, on your own. Sometimes it's the beginning point that later, will lead to a memoir that, for some clients that as they get started with this, it's like, oh, I have a greater story to tell. So, all right. So when Honey and I complete our instructor certification, we do plan to package like a Gab writing workshop and include a Gab edition magazine, with the offering. We call it, jokingly Gab the Gorgeous. Um, and so what I always like to do is like begin with the end in mind, show, somebody what the end product could look like. And I know when I was in Angela's class, it was motivating to me more. We worked on the design, and then I made sure I actually completed the writings, did the editing because I was gonna, publish it for my magazine. So it kind of motivated me to kind of put some extra effort into it to, kind of fine tune my writing. And then another thing I like is that you can keep adding to the stories. Like I went through the initial course, but now I'm taking the instructor training and I'm, writing on different themes and that I plan to all combine together and then publish, when I'm ready. So yeah, I think this would provide, I'd like to see what you guys think, but I think this would be a unique, opportunity to help participants, preserve and share their work, just another option.
Yeah. I apologize, you guys. I didn't know that I was sitting in the dark.
Are you sorry?
Yeah, I know. I'm just all of a sudden going like, oh my goodness, nobody can see me. So sorry. So yeah, the slide. I think there's a last slide, right, Sheila?
Yeah.
Um, and this is where we start the discussion. We just love to get your feedback and just hear, how what you think about all this.
Yeah, Heather was sharing at the top, how it's a similar concept, she does digital storytelling, right, Heather?
Yeah.
Yeah, we always put it out to our students. What are you planning on doing with
Right.
these stories now that you've completed them? And try and drop some seeds into there so that people do get some ideas. There are a couple questions already in the chat.
Okay.
Do you find and create images when personal photos are not available? Kit is asking.
You know what? The way we work around that is actually rather easy because that people run into that. Like I don't have a picture of
Yeah,
myself when I was 3 years old.
yeah,
And we say, you know what? Use something that provokes your thoughts as far as maybe online. Just find a picture of the hometown you were grown up in. I did that with myself. And
yeah.
I just went online and found the street where my grandfather lived with a
Uh-huh.
current picture, and I just watermarked it. And you
Um,
can be very creative these days by doing alternative storytelling through photos that way.
yeah.
So I would have to see what they're looking for, but we can
And then
absolutely.
help them. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I do similar with the digital storytelling as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Karen is asking, is there a limit to the number of pages they can do?
We start with 24, but
Okay,
no, Carol, that is the beauty here. Keep going, keep going.
keep going.
It's like it's your thing. If you buy the template, or even whatever you want to do, you just keep copying. And
Yeah, and I would add, don't keep going. Make yourself print some because once it's in your hand, that's so inspiring as well. So
oh,
don't
good
keep
one.
waiting.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly. Yeah,
wait
yeah. Don't,
indefinitely.
that's
Yeah,
that's that's a good one. But
yeah.
if she wants to do
It's
it
good to
in
have
the
a
short term, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have a deadline because we did a magazine. It's more like we called it a milestone magazine for somebody's 90th birthday, and it worked out really great because we had a deadline. We had a birthday to celebrate, and they wanted to print, and they ended up printing like 45 copies
Yeah.
for their family and extended family, and actually that one we did through Blurb, and it was really cost effective for the family to get that printed.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
you're right. Deadlines are
Um,
good.
Ingrid's asking, she says, this is great. Can you give us an idea on cost? I know the cost of the license from your website, but how much would it cost someone to actually print a magazine all in format and print?
Well, we we didn't want to go there, people, because this is not supposed to be a sales pitch. It's a
Okay,
conversation. But no, we charge if you were to do it yourself, we charge for the template $45.
okay,
But if you have us design it, it will probably be around $300. And
okay.
but there's all kind of variables that we offer, and we can discuss that at a later time.
And for some of our, because you can look at our website and see some of our templates, and then we have some packages out there with pricing, but that's if we like interview them, and it's kind of a ballpark because and it could be like an hour and a half interview, but then somebody wants a longer interview, and so it ends up being pretty custom based on actually what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly. And
But
Um,
if you're talking about the what's that?
I was just going to say if I did my own and then I printed through Blurb so
mhm,
that I would have a physical copy to show my classes.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
I think it was $35 to $40
mhm,
to have a print. So to have
Yeah.
so that I could have a physical copy. It was
right,
very inexpensive.
yeah,
well, I appreciate you both not, that you're not doing a plug, but it's really good to know you exist.
yeah,
Because not everyone's going to be able to do it themselves. Like Angie and I both done stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, so people would love to have your website. Amy's asking, so these are templates that you've designed for the different magazines? Those are
Mhm.
your templates that you showed us
Yeah,
tonight?
yeah,
Okay.
that's the thing. And we have some stipulations. We have commercial licenses and private licenses. The $45 is just a private use license.
Yeah.
And so there's, and for Gap, since we are the new kids on the block, we just want to do special pricing and special magazine. But again, that would be step two. This is more to see what people think and if this resonates.
And
Yeah.
our Gab
Well,
edition is not yet on our website. I know Angela was testing it with her classes.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not really widely out there yet.
Right.
well, and it would be, I would hope that both of you are going to do your 8 or your 6 stories, 5 stories, whatever. From oh my goodness, sorry, my phone keeps ringing. So Sarah was asking, I assume this is produced using a print on demand vendor, which I think you said towards the end, because you were suggesting Blurb, which is on demand, and that's what that family did with the 90-year-old, right?
Yeah, it's print on demand, so you don't have to have inventory or anything like that. It's like you simply, place the order online and, have it shipped, to whoever you want to. Yeah.
And with Blurb, you can also get a digital PDF, so then somebody could put it on their iPad and flip
Yep.
through it on their iPad or whatever.
And we use the flip books that we were showing you on our screen. We use a program called it's Flip HTML5, and we have a subscription. And then when we offer done for you services, we kind of add that in as a bonus. It's a flip book, a shareable flip book that they can share. It's got a few bells and whistles to it. But you're right. Blurb also has a PDF too that comes with it that you could share.
Can you put the website in the chat again if you haven't already? People are asking. Michael says it definitely resonates with him. He's already subscribed to your newsletter, so there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
And Kit is saying they have resonates with them and has storytellers who would want comb binding printing, and this looks so much better. What we can do now is if people, thanks for putting questions into the chat, but if you want to stop sharing your screen
Okay,
and
sure.
people want to raise their hand physically or digitally, then you can unmute and ask Sheila and Honi questions out loud. Thanks for putting the link is now in the chat, everyone. So I encourage you to click on it so it opens on your screen. You can go back and visit it after we hang up from Zoom. Anybody have any questions? It obviously resonates with a lot of us.
Awesome.
Nobody else wants to say anything?
Yeah, well, I can say
Amy,
something.
Amy. Okay, Amy put up her hand. So Amy, go ahead.
Yeah. Do y'all do? I work. I've had the Gab training, and I've been doing groups for a long time on life storytelling. I work a lot in retirement communities here in Tennessee. And do y'all do any editing on your end, or do you ask people to submit it ready to go?
Good question.
Yeah, we sometimes we can't help ourselves.
Okay.
That we yeah, we want a polished
Sure.
print. But no, we talk to the clients about that,
Sure. Yeah.
and you know, we usually do include some editing.
Okay. Cool. Thank
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
I
who
think I think the Gab process lends itself well because at least with you know, with our class that we're going through now, it's like we're putting the stories in a Google Drive, which is really handy. You know, if we were to do that for someone, it's like you can get the photo or get the stories and photos from a Google Drive and then, you know, put those into our templates. So
Mhm.
Okay.
it's
Well, and
easy
if you
to-
attended the last Gab chat, we talked about AI. This is where AI is very helpful as
Right.
well.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have a certain limit, of course, to a magazine page. And that's, of course, where you can throw it through chat and
Yeah,
reduce it down.
great. There was a man that spoke up.
Yes,
Who was
Michael. No, I was just going to say probably what most people are thinking already is I work a lot in a hospice and old age homes as well, where people just don't have the stamina really to write like a full length memoir. So this idea of a magazine that can vary in the length would be perfect for a lot of these people. That would be very doable.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank
Good
you.
point. So,
that's a
Karen.
great thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we just finished a class last week and we had a gentleman in there who was very anxious to write his story for his kids and grandkids, etc. But he is not very technical,
Mhm.
and by
Mhm.
his own admission. So he was actually kind of struggling with how he was going to, do this, share this short of just printing out his story and handing it to him.
Mhm.
So I could see he would be a perfect candidate for something like this.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and we have done, some custom work where, I interviewed an older gentleman and he was not going to be the writer, because we give them a choice. Do you want to, write answers to some writing prompts?
Mhm.
He was definitely a storyteller, so he wanted to talk. So, I interviewed him and then transcribed that, to text. And then, talking to him and his family because his daughter was paying for that, and asked the family, what stories did dad want to, what were important to him, and so out of the so I kind of geared the questions to what was important to him, you know,
Mhm.
the main stories of his, the three themes of his life. And then we were able to kind of turn that into a custom magazine for him, based on what he wanted versus, you know, write about this
Mhm.
prompt, that prompt. So we do some custom work as well.
That's great because nothing is just cookie.
Cook-
It's not
yeah,
cookie cutter stuff here,
Yeah.
especially with that demographic we're all working with. It's the same with me when I do the digital storytelling. I often ghost write after an interview and then they tweak it. So,
right.
Kit, you have your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to comment on the format of the magazine. I think the white space, the great amount of white space is very appealing.
Mhm.
To me, especially working with elders. Sometimes a book is a little daunting, like Michael was saying. But this just is so different. Imagine them holding a magazine. I don't know if that's harder for an older person the to hold the texture of a magazine. I was wondering if you could comment on the size and what size of photos you usually use in this format.
Yeah, Honey, do
Sheila?
you want to touch on
Oh,
that? Yeah,
I,
or I
I was
can.
just saying, Sheila.
Oh, you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yes, there is that concern, and often older people like hard copies, not hard copies, hard covers. That's what I meant.
Mm.
And so in that case, then we would go to another format, that trade book one, and we
Mhm.
can print that in hard copy. So they have a little bit more the feeling that it's something, that will last longer, that can be hold firm. Where a magazine, it's more like it's fun. It's for our generation, the 50s, 60s.
Mhm.
That's because we were raised with that, all the glossies. And I got the whole idea from Diana. And, because I have all these magazines of Princess Diana. And so all these fun, glossy magazines, that resonates with us. But for older people, you're absolutely right. Probably the hardcover, and that would be the trade book version then. And then the size pictures, yeah, that really depends, kid. Some like it big, some like it small. We do also some story photo album setups, and they have fairly large pictures with small text. And these are, in general, just mid-sized pictures, I would say. So it's not, because you know what the problem is with life story photos is that they are not the best quality. You know what I mean? For a
Right,
wedding magazine, everybody has the perfect pictures and the
Mhm.
high
right.
resolution shots. And we have all the crappy pictures of grandma in the kitchen, you know what I mean, that are faded.
And we know that we're not going to, use those types of photos in a big
Exactly.
a full-size image. So we'll include those by all means because they're important
Yeah.
photos to their story, but they might be a smaller,
Right.
photo
And
page.
Yeah, so
and
we do that on
and
purpose.
and if you're doing it yourself, Blurb will direct you and say that
Yeah,
file is way too
that's
small.
true.
Exactly.
It's going to get pixelated, so they
Yeah.
encourage you to reduce the size.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And
But the whole size
um,
of the magazine, is it like the size of a Woman's Day magazine, or are you
Yeah,
doing
it's 8.5 by 11, just letter size.
yeah.
okay.
And
Oh,
it's
letter size. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And hello, Angela.
Hi. A couple of things. So one is that the people I'm working with, I'm not sure that some might want a printed thing, but actually I'm working with a younger population. So I'm thinking about more of a digital thing, a digital printed thing. So that's number one, just a comment. And then the other thing is I'm still trying to understand the flow of what you're presenting in terms of being a Gab instructor and working with our students. Are you suggesting that the model might be that we send our students to you? Are you suggesting that we would we would do the work and put it into the format? I mean, I'm just a little confused.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Sheila. You were
yeah.
starting up. Okay.
No, well, we're simply kind of sharing this is the Gab edition magazine is newer for us. And, we just had brief conversations, with Cheryl and about like, would this be something the community would like? Because absolutely we could do some of the work, we could make our templates available. Maybe a portion of portion of the sale could go to the Beer and Center. But we were kind of the first step was to kind of assess the interest, of the community
Yeah.
to see if this would resonate before we kind of figure out like, how would this work?
Oh, okay.
But I think like, with Tony and I as new instructors, it's like we're absolutely gonna, do this with our students. We're gonna offer them and I probably think that a lot of them will want us to do it for them rather than have, you know, uh, elderly people are not going to go into Canva and kind of create the design. So we would offer like a
Right.
done for you. Yeah, may or may not. You just never know.
I'm considered elderly, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
use Canva.
Yeah, you use Canva. But yeah, so
You're tech.
you're not elderly. You're not
I
elderly.
am.
You're
I
good.
am by the book.
We're elderly too, and we use.
There you go.
But
No,
yeah,
but
so but
elderly
yeah,
80.
we would
I just
offer.
think it's funny that word. Sorry, I
Yeah,
digress. I think it's
I
funny
know.
that word, like what we're saying, like
Yeah.
what is that? Like, are we talking about people that are like 90 or 100? Okay, fine. Then
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
elderly, but I am technically.
Well, since I'm in my 60s, yeah, I
I'm in
think
my 70s. There you go.
okay. So I think I think people, let's say 80 and over is elderly.
Okay.
But
You know,
90, 90.
I think we could probably even just forget the age thing and just say
Exactly.
techie or non-techie.
exactly.
That's a good
Yeah.
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good
Get
idea.
myself into trouble here, but
Because there are people that would totally embrace this, and there's other
Yeah.
people that would just run the other way.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think Angela, I think Sheila and Honi have been really careful not to make this so much a sales pitch as much as, look, it's out there. We're joining the community. We have this service. And I think it's great that we know what each other's doing and what else is out there so we can offer it to our students. So
Yeah, and we
Thank you.
will follow
it-
up with Cheryl and see where to go from here, because this
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
decided by the leadership and et cetera, et cetera. But
No, I
that's
appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
you have
No.
you'll be able to stick it into your final project for class.
exactly.
Carolyn, before I get your question, Janice has asked, I'm still not clear on the maximum number of pages. Can you have a 100-page magazine? Is there printing available on the binding? So like the spine, I guess you're saying?
Not for the magazine format. It's just a color binding that you print. As far as the max size, I would have to check with Blurb. I mean, I think it's, it costs for additional pages, but do you know that?
No, but it's a large amount. It's at least 100 pages.
I did way more than that. I did
Yeah,
a daily photo project and had it printed in my Blurb
yeah,
book is that big.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Liz is asking about the font size, especially if we're dealing with an older population.
Right. Yeah.
And what do you find works best and allows for space for the photographs if you're looking at increasing your font size?
Right. Yeah, that of course becomes tricky. I have it now at 9. The sample that we showed is 10 on with
Oh, that's
Poppins.
small.
Yeah, and that's already small. And but again, you know what? These are discussions to be had, because if we finalize on a Gap magazine, then we would say, let's go with 1,000 words,
Mhm.
and definitely 10 as the smallest font size. And I would just rework the pictures or the pages. It's all very doable. So that's not the
Yeah.
issue. But it's like, we'll get there. We'll get input from the community and perfect it for that
Mhm.
purpose.
Yeah, and everything's so flexible, all these platforms, right?
Oh yeah.
Carolyn, you have your hand up. Do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Thanks. Hi. I'm new to the community, so hello. You
Welcome.
mentioned that you were doing flip books, which I've done in the past with various clients and so forth. So are you actually embedding also audio files into your flip books? Are you
Um,
getting
I
any?
have. So we did it was a project for a couple that turned 60. So they wanted we called it an anniversary magazine for their 60th birthday. And the guy happened to be a music writer. And so we did the printed book for them, but then we also did a flip book, and then we were able to use his songs that he had written as background music in the digital version. So as they flipped to the pages, we could add music to the background.
So you are doing some video and audio into your flip books?
Yeah, on request. So it was like a
On request,
special
okay.
add-on. Yeah, because you can add
Yeah.
music, you can add little twinkle stars in the back and different.
Yeah.
We also, we've done some business type brochures for clients, and we're able to embed video into the flip books, and
Mm.
some other animation
Mm.
text moving in. But that kind of gets fancy, but it's not for those are kind of like special projects. Yeah,
Okay,
they're
thanks.
fun. They're fun.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I find I need to work with the graphic designer a lot of the times when we start embedding those kinds of things into the flip books.
Mhm.
I love flip books.
What what
They're
program do you use for that?
it's a while ago since we were using Flipbook at HTML
Okay.
5, but
Yeah.
there's another one and I can't remember at the top of my head. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
I
okay.
have to go back. Yeah.
That's the one I'm most familiar with is the
Yeah.
Flip HTML5. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sarah, you have a question and you have a comment, which you could just tell us out loud too.
Well, the comment is I just quickly Googled what's the standard for large print books for people with visual impairments, and 16 to 18 points is the answer,
boy.
with 18 point being the most used standard. I wanted to bring up something about sharing writing in which other people are in your stories. And the difference between seeing that in manuscript or rough draft form versus seeing it in something that looks like such a finished product. Some years ago, I made the mistake of showing writing to people in a finished looking product because I used print on demand to print a few advanced reader copies of a travel memoir I had written. And I showed it to people who were involved in the travel experience, and they flipped out because it looked so final and they hadn't been consulted about being named in my book. And just be careful about how quickly you go to a finished product that looks so polished as this. It's a beautiful product and I love what you're doing, but there's a very definite need to have stages of drafting, review, approval before you show anybody something that looks so final. Nobody wants to be blindsided by seeing their story in print, not as they would tell it, and having it look like something that you'd find on a magazine stand. So a word of caution.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, you're still muted, but
There we go. It's a follow-on from what Sarah was saying. Because we're talking about publishing, and I'm not a legal expert, but I have been advised by a lawyer that even self-publishing, even private publishing, if it's out there in the public sphere, if on a website, a blog, you are, it comes under, the law applies to magazines, memoir magazines, anything that's published, even if it's privately done so, as well as like traditional publishing. So a lawyer is just sort of, he advised me to make sure, that you address things like defamation, using people's names that haven't agreed to have their names put in the book or magazine. So it's worth just taking a look at the legals. Copyright, the other thing that I got told recently was sometimes older people want to put their favorite songs or the lyrics in their memoir, and that's a copyright infringement. So you have to get permission to do that.
Yeah.
I think your song titles are okay, but lyrics, no, you have to get permission to use
Yeah,
lyrics.
like the background music, and I with the one that we did with, it was his own work, so we were able to do that because he created the songs. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All the copyright issues with the music.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say also, because this is what I do for a living, is a lot of copyright research. Any of the images. So if it's not a photograph that they've taken, but if they've got it from somebody else, or if it's an image taken from somewhere else, copyright can be a real issue. And I've had colleagues who have gone through legal trauma.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
unfortunately.
Wow. Any other questions? We'll wind down this portion and then open it up to general conversation. Okay, well, thank you, Honi, and thank you, Sheila. This has been lots of food for thought for us. And I would love to see our storytellers, our students, do more of this. To be able to put their books in writing, because as we know, anything that's online is going to disappear one day. And then those stories are gone. And I know a lot of people are handwriting as well in our classes, but it's great to have you as part of the community now. And I hope everyone will take note of your website so that when this comes up as something they'd like to use or refer people to, they can.
No, we appreciate the opportunity, and it's great having the discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anybody else have other things you'd like to chat about today? Any and always what we invite is if you have a topic idea or a burning question that you'd like us to address during the Gab Chats. We'd love to hear about those. We're always trying to plan ahead for upcoming Gab Chats. And as I said at the beginning, they're on the third Wednesday of every month and they alternate between morning and afternoon. Oh, everybody's so quiet.
Because it's evening.
Yeah.
You know, even on the
All
East
tired
Coast,
out.
I'm like,
Yeah. Did anybody teach today? No. Anybody teach yesterday? Tomorrow? We have a class tomorrow. We have 2 a week right now. Everybody else teaching right now?
I
Yeah.
taught last night. I'm dead because it's 95 degrees outside. So
Gee, where is that, Mickey?
LA.
Oh, Cheryl was saying it was super hot there.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's unusual for March, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're dead.
And do you teach in person?
This March at Renewal by
I have one in person and I have two online.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That does sound hot. Anybody else have anything they want to share? I know Heidi and Sarah, you're teaching your Shaking the Family Tree. Heidi, do you want to share a little bit about that? Sarah mentioned it's going.
Yeah, Sarah and I just came from our first session. And it was fun. It was great. Lots of great story writers, great information about people's background and setting. And we got 5 more sessions. I'm looking forward to the stories that we're going to hear.
Do you want to summarize what the class is so people know when they see it show up in their inbox again?
Well, Shaking the Family Tree is a class that deals with telling the stories of your family. It ties very much into what this presentation is all about. It ties right into family stories, but these are not about you necessarily. They're about your ancestors, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. Where do they come from? What was the circumstances surrounding their move, their immigration, their settlements, their jobs, what were their personalities, what things did they value, what were their rituals, and how did those pass down through the ages, and how does it affect who you are today? So we look at many angles about your family history, and we embed that, or you embed that in stories. So we teach you a little bit of how to write the stories and provide the context and the material for writing those stories.
Awesome. I actually had the privilege of taking the inaugural training with Heidi and Sarah and absolutely loved it. It just felt so fresh and just a new way of approaching it. And I don't think I may have told you, Heidi, that it was in the works, but our next level class ends on Monday and their last assignment is a Shaking the Family Tree type of prompt. So we're super excited to hear what they have to say. And Heidi, Carolyn writes, Heidi, my friend is in your Shaking the Family Tree class, and she said the first class was fantastic.
Oh, I love it. The great thing about this, and we told the students today, is you're being trained to be an instructor to teach this class to other people, but when you're teaching it, it helps you reflect on your own family. And that's a side benefit Sarah and I did not realize until we taught the beta class. We've done some family research and a lot of people have written about my own family, but oh my goodness, we were kind of parallel thinking about the same stuff we were teaching. And, hearing other people's stories, like, my family did that too. So it's kind of a double bonus for teaching. You're helping people, but you're also growing with what you're doing as well. So it's it's a fun class. I love teaching it.
And Mickey's asking, do you provide how to research the history?
Good question. Mickey, that was something we had to wrestle with when we were writing this curriculum because we don't have time for genealogy. This really focuses on writing the stories. and assuming that people have some baseline knowledge of their last three from their last the most recent generations. We talk briefly about making family trees, but we don't go into the research and the genealogy piece of it. 6 weeks just couldn't cover the amount of time needed for that kind of research.
Yeah, so Mickey points out for those of us who know nothing about our family, Mickey, with me living in Mexico, I don't have access to a lot of that information. And so I just used what I had and used Google and then took the liberty of doing some creative nonfiction, which was really fun and which was a new concept to me. So
Yeah, we talk about that, but kind of, how do you write creatively but keep it nonfiction? But people pull up pictures and they think about stories that maybe they heard around the dinner table. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's such a lovely approach to continuing the writing with Gab. Um, oh,
Not sure what Stephen, what do you mean in
Steve,
your question?
so he's asking Mickey if she wants to know about how to
Oh,
do family research, right? Stephen, do you want to elaborate on that? Because where are you? Oh, there you are.
I was just responding to Mickey to find out if that's
Uh-huh,
something we might consider through the
right.
Barron Center offering,
yeah.
Yeah, that's
because
a really good question.
we already have the prompt in the theme of the role of family,
Mm-hmm.
and having some guidance as to how to find out more about our families so that we can incorporate it into our stories might be of interest. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gauging the interest that Mickey might have and to see if anybody else might have that interest as well.
I'd be interested in that for sure. I got really excited about that, but I didn't know where to go.
Well,
Yep.
Linda sounds like she is as well. Linda D.
Yeah,
Cool.
what a great idea. Yeah,
Okay. Well, great. That's why we're gab chatting about this.
Yeah.
exactly. This is the opportunity to put out there what interests us and where we can all go together, or if we have resources that we can share with each other. Thanks, Heidi, for sharing about that. Heidi and I were supposed to meet live last week. We were supposed to have our Sayulita Mexico writing retreat, a Gab writing retreat. But unfortunately, with the cartel activity that happened in our neighborhood, it kind of spooked people, and everything is completely fine now, but we had to cancel it. So I didn't get to meet Heidi and give her a big hug in person.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
It
really
was very sad.
yeah.
But we're just next time, yes.
Yeah.
So, Heather, I shared a link in the chat. So I'm not sure if
Okay.
you guys are familiar with a movie that's just come out called The Green Bench. It was put out. It's actually part of Elder Wisdom Movement, which the Schlegel Village is, who is a senior living community franchise up in Canada here.
Uh-huh.
They may be North American. I know they're in Canada. So they've been working on this film, and what they did was they took 5 of their residents back to their place of origin, and the stories that came from there. And it premiered last week. And it's actually playing next week at the Together We Care conference for all of senior living community executives, and it's really catching fire. That the hot topic that fits into right exactly what we do here. So if anyone gets a chance, copy the link and take a look at it.
Okay, I just grabbed it. Thanks for that, Todd. That sounds really good.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you at the beginning. My camera was off. I was waving, and then I realized.
Oh, were you? Oh, well, I appreciate you sharing. Anybody else have any cool things they want to share with us? Books, documentaries, podcasts? Angie, unmute Angie. Tell us live. Come on. I get to meet Angie live in a few weeks.
I just wanted to let people know, like, I'm doing the life portfolio class. Yeah, Karen, I can see you in there too. So she might have to say on that as well. But I'm really, really enjoying it, and it's something that I think particularly for people in transition, like, coming into retirement or something like that. I think it's like a phenomenal fit for something like that. And so, yeah, I'm getting a lot out of it, and I'm already coming up with great ideas on where I can teach it. So just I wanted to give a plug for that.
Who teaches that one, Angie?
Lee.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that. That's great. Anybody else done that one? Karen? Okay.
I'm in it right now with Angie, and I'm in a different place in my life timeline than she is, but it's still very appropriate. Very
Great.
good.
Awesome. Anybody else want to share anything?
Is this the Seasons of Significance course with Lee?
I think it's called Life.
No, I believe it's different. I think that is through her story guides, but
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
actually the facilitator training.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if everybody's done for tonight and wants to pack it in and go rest, thank you so much for being here with us. I hope we see you next month and the month after. Keep an eye on your inbox for emails, the Buren Gazette, and then of course there's the Buren Forum. And if you have any questions, drop me a line. And again, thank you for being here with us.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Teresa, stay on for a sec.